Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday live show. Um, I always go live a little bit early just in case I run into any problems. I'm scheduled to start at noon on Sundays, and I always like to be on time. I never really like to be late for anything. Um, I'll talk a little bit about that before I actually start the real show. We have about what time are we at now? Let me bring up my clock so I can see what my real time is. So I make sure I start the show on time because sometimes if I start talking a bit, oh yeah, we got about it's 11:47 now. I'll leave my clock up so I can see it. Oh, what I didn't do, see, I made a mistake already. I didn't create another tab and go live on YouTube Studio so that I can see that I can answer any questions I may get from you guys. Make sure we're working here. We're going to go live here. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Let's test the audio. Okay, good. Let's test the audio. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, good. Let's test the audio. Sounds good. Okay, great. So I can make this a little bit bigger so I can see that up there. And then if I start getting questions, because this is going to be the Sunday Q&A show, and if I start getting questions, I'll be able to look right up here and see my questions. Let me sit up a little straight. Got to stop slouching. I've always been saying that, but I continue to do it. I'm not perfect. Far from it. Far from it. Oops, now that's too much headroom. Let's tilt down a little bit. Again, like I told you guys, I'm obsessed with having the right amount of headroom. Move a little bit closer here, or bring this a little bit closer. It's probably better. And I can talk about this. Here's my time here. Oh, Sunday live. Let's edit this. See, that's why I like to go. Okay, good. Sunday live questions and answers. Let's save that. Oh, I'm real early, 11:25. My clock. What's this thing? Oh, no. Why don't I have the real time? Oh, scheduled for. Scheduled for. What's that? Scheduled for. I didn't even see that was up there. How to. Thumbnail. Playlist is going to go to. Do I have a Sunday live show? Playlist. I love my playlist. Do it live. We'll put it in there. Let's see what happened. Not made for kids. No age restriction. Altered content. No. It's about acting. English. Save. Okay. Yeah. So we're getting close. Check my time again. 11:50. All right. I'm a little early, but that's okay. Just spend some behind the scene time with you guys. So every Sunday at noon, I go live. I answer questions and answers about acting, directing, and editing. So that's what I'm about to do in about 10 minutes. Let's see here. I'm going to have trying to set up my shot like this. You can see a little bit of what I'm working on in the background. Hello, I'll be starting shortly. Thanks for stopping by. This is my Sunday live question and answer. Be starting in like 9 minutes. Just getting all the housekeeping taken care of. I have my mic on. Let's make sure my audio is still playing the way I want it. Testing. Good. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. All right. Sounds pretty good. We turn that off because we don't want to echo. And I got my content that I want to talk about today. I always talk about a topic here, mostly acting, because most of my content starts focuses on acting, directing, and editing. Now I see another thing I had to do too. I put a little. I shoot these lives on my cell phone because I find that it just makes it easier, and I'm in control of it. Because if I want to pivot, I can pivot over here and show you what I'm working on. I can pivot back here if I'm talking about something. I like to do it that way. I know there's software where you can pivot and you can switch up different channels. I've tried some of it. As a matter of fact, I just created a video. I was trying to use one of my older cameras. My, where is that? Oh, oh, there we go. I wanted to bring up the, what is this? Oh, I want to clear these notifications. Sorry. And I have the time right there. So yeah, I just created a video about trying to use one of my older cameras. I still have it sitting right over there, a Canon T5i. I was saying the wrong name in the video, but the Canon T5i. I don't know why it came to me. Make sure that I don't go. Okay, we're at 11:53. Got a few minutes before I start the show, and we'll be answering questions and answers about acting, directing, or editing. If you're working on a project, if you're planning to work on a project, if you just completed a project and you have some questions, feel free to stop by. I love doing this on Sunday. It's kind of a relaxing show for me. I love talking about this stuff. If any of you have been watching my channel, you'll see that I can continue to talk about this all day. It's funny because I do enjoy talking about this content, and being here on YouTube with you guys gives me the perfect opportunity for me to just go into it and talk about it. So that's what I do, but I always have content to talk about. Today, I'm going to be talking about some information for new actors. I've been creating a bunch of videos focusing on new actors because what I've noticed reviewing my YouTube analytics is that a lot of you guys are interested in acting. And that's what I hoped when I decided to start this channel, because acting is something I've been doing for the past 35, 40 years. I'm a character actor. You can look me up on the internet. You can go to Internet Movie Database, look for James Adam Tucker, or just do a Google search, or even easier, follow the link to my channel, and you'll see all kinds of ways to contact me and find out who I am, what I've done, and my background. So I enjoy sharing that. I enjoy sharing the work that I've done, and continue to talk about it. So I'm getting close to, got like 5 minutes. Look what we got here. Oh yeah, we got almost exactly 5 minutes. The clock on the wall back there is perfect. I didn't realize that. So I have my clock right here. I have my talking points. I have my YouTube live playing back up here. And that's one of the reasons I like streaming through my phone, because once I start getting comments, I can just look right up here and I can see those comments better and I can answer them. Sometimes it's hard for me to see when I'm streaming on my phone. It's hard for me to see the little comments down in the bottom. So can't read them that well. But here I can see them and I'll be able to answer them much easier. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Let's see. You can. There was something in here to break out the chat. Let's see. Pop out chat. So yeah, I can take that and I can put it here, and I can even make that a little bit bigger, and then I'll be able to even see the chat even a little bit better, which is good for me. I won't have to squint to see it. All right, yeah, that's great. Okay, great. So yeah, we're going to be starting shortly. What time do I have? Okay. I have about, I started today a little bit early. I usually start about somewhere around 10 minutes before, because I do run into bugs. That's one thing too, that whenever you're doing a live show, a lot of people have a countdown. I guess that's easier and they can figure out the bugs. I might do that in the near future, make myself a little countdown that I can use to play before I go live. But I don't mind talking about what's on my mind. If any of you have watched my videos, you know that I just can continue to talk about this content. That's why I'm happy to do this, because I have an endless amount, and I have to keep remembering my camera is here. That's one of the things about shooting on the cell phone. Sometimes you'll look off center, but I put myself a little post-it note on the side, and every time I remember, I look more towards that area where the camera is. So I'm thinking about getting one of those cameras that has built-in streaming. So I'll think about that. Some of them are, I think, like a Mevo. I've worked with Mevos in the past. They had some problems though. So let me see. I see what my clock says back there. Let me check here. Let's see. Oh yeah, got like 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. I love this right on time. Again, I was talking about earlier, I don't like to be late, especially when I would go to in-person auditions. I would always go early because you never know what's going to happen. The worst thing is walking in to a casting director's office late. Most likely, when you get there, you're going to wait anyway. But you always have that buffer of waiting. But I always make sure that I'm there early so that I can go upstairs, get dressed, whatever, if I need to put my shirt on or whatever. A lot of times when I'm driving there, I just hang my shirt on the hanger in the back. And then when I get there, I put it on and I go inside and do the audition. Just a routine that I have. We got 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. I'm going to put my water down. I drink warm water. Keeps my voice, once I start talking a lot, keeps my voice smooth when I start talking a lot. Well, and also today I have to remember too, I have my mic on. So I don't have to talk as loud as I've been talking when I was trying to make sure I was projecting enough for the built-in camera. Because the cell phone camera, for the voice, cell phone microphone, when you're not right up to it, then it's harder to hear you. So right now I have the Bluetooth enabled mic. These new mics work pretty good. I was surprised at the quality the first time I used one. Okay, welcome. Put my water back here. Thanks for joining me. We're here on the Sunday live show where I answer questions. I take your questions and I answer them. If I don't have the answer right away, I'll tell you. Don't want to BS you. Tell you I don't have the answer right away, but I can find it. But what I really love to talk about on here, people have been contacting me, and what I really love to talk about are projects that you currently are in development with. I've been doing this acting, directing, and editing for past 35 years. I say 35 years, but it's been longer. I started in college, and I started creating short films in college once I decided I wanted to be in this field, and this was the field I was going to work in. Let me sit up a bit. I'm trying to not slouch, so I need to adjust my headroom. Thank you. Here we go. Whoop. Now, see, I adjusted it too much, and from being in the video background, I'm always obsessed when I have too much headroom. When I see people with too much headroom, it aggravates me. I know I shouldn't let it aggravate me that much, but it does. So yeah, there we go. That's better. So yeah, again, I've been doing this for over 35 years, acting, directing, and editing. James Adam Tucker. You can look me up on the Internet Movie Database, or you can go to my channel in the description below if this is the first time you're seeing me. And check out some of the work I've done. I have feature films that I've directed, all direct-to-video independent features, spanning the years and different genres. And I really enjoy this field. And that's why I'm happy to be here on YouTube talking about it. Today, what I wanted to talk about, I've noticed that a lot of you, and from the analytics I see on YouTube, a lot of you have been focusing in mostly on the new acting stuff. And that's where I excel, if I must say so myself, talking about acting, directing, and editing. Acting is my number one love. And I enjoy talking about it. I talk to a lot of young actors who are just getting into the field, who are deciding if this is something they want to do, if this is something they want to invest their time trying to pursue. And I'm always honest. I'm always honest. I talk about the good and I talk about the bad. I talk about how difficult this is. And I kind of always lead with that because I don't want to bury it. We got a lot of people out there who talk about just the success, and there's nothing wrong with that, or just their accomplishments. I talk about my accomplishments. I talk about the mistakes I've made. I talk about the things I've done wrong, the things that I've done, to be honest, things bad, stupid, not planning well, not thinking it through. So the reason I talk about this stuff is so that you can avoid it. So you, as a new person, can avoid it. And I wish that when I was young, we had something here like YouTube where I could go and find out information, find out unbiased information about this business, which when I started, I didn't know a lot. I had those dreams like a lot of people do where, you think it's going to be easier than it turns out to be because you've seen the success. You've seen the success of people who skyrocket or somehow have quick success is always highlighted and profiled. But the success of people who end up taking the long way, the hard way, is not really talked about. And that's what I talk about with acting, directing, and editing. So in general filmmaking. And that's why I have information where I can help you. One of the things I pride myself in is when I talk about this stuff, I always try to talk about what not to do because I know a lot about that also. I know what will work and what won't work. And again, when I talk about it, it's my opinion. You can verify with other people. You can bounce my ideas that you get from me off of other people. I say do that. Look into what I'm saying and see if it's going to work for you. Because I did a video earlier. As a matter of fact, I did a video today. I edited a video today that I had shot about a week ago that tells you there's no one way to do anything. Not in this entertainment business. There's no one way. We here on YouTube, we have a lot of people who are selling information about, how to get subscribers and 1,000 subscribers in 1 week, how to get 1,000 subscribers in 2 weeks, how to monetize in a month, how to monetize. And it's BS. This YouTube, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go off on this over a little bit. YouTube takes work. It's not something that is going to happen overnight. You're not going to become monetized in 1 week. You're not going to get 4,000 watch hours in 1 week. I've been seeing a lot of those videos pop up, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but I hope people aren't falling for it. Again, in the world outside of YouTube, there's a lot of scams. I continuously get that email, those emails about, oh, my beloved one, I researched you and found your name, and I have $10 million in the bank, but I need someone to help me get it out. Scams. There's so many scams. Let me tell you a funny story before I get into the acting stuff. About, what was it? Oh, wow. Over 2 years ago, I moved to Georgia. I moved to Georgia for 2 years. And the reason I moved there was to work on my acting in their system. Because I had found out, like everyone else had found out, that a lot of projects from California had been moving to Georgia. Georgia had some great tax advantages. New studios open up, low fees, really open to the film industry. So a lot of the film industry was moving there. I moved there, and obviously I had to get a regular job. So I got a job. I was lucky enough to get a job working for the Board of Commissioners in a small town in a smaller county in town, Newton County, Covington. So I worked there as the audio visual content manager. And what was so great about that opportunity was that I told everyone, and it's the first time in my career when I worked a normal job, that I was an actor. And they were happy for me to go out on auditions. And I found a great agent, one of the best agents in Georgia, Houghton Talent. And they started sending me out. And I went out on many auditions. And I did end up booking like 5 or 6 union jobs while I was there for the 2 years. But it wasn't enough to continue to stay. I'm based here. I live here in California. So ultimately, I had to come back to California to be with my family. So, but I did enjoy my time living in Georgia and working in Georgia. The small town I lived in was called Covington. And I always joked that it reminded me of Mayberry from the television show, Andy Griffith's show, because it was a small town. It was, you know, they had everything that we had, but everything was small. The funniest thing about it was where I worked at the Board of Commissioners, at lunchtime, they would put out a sandwich board and the building would close down so everyone could go to lunch at noon. So it was a quaint, calm, peaceful 2 years that I worked there. And I do miss it. I do miss it. I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to be here with you guys working on YouTube. That was something that I didn't do out there. But I'm glad how things are going now. But I do miss the auditions. I had a lot of auditions. So that's one of the big things I miss from my 2 years in Georgia. The agent was great. I had never had an agent like that. But every good thing comes to an end. So I came back home and I was lucky enough to get back with my original agent. And so they've been sending me out. Things are going good. I'm saying all that to say that things change. Things do not stay the same. And that's one thing you got to realize if you want to get into this acting business. There's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be ups and downs. That's one thing I tell all new actors. I know it's exciting when you're first starting out. You have all the plans, you have all the aspirations, but you have to know both sides of that fence. There's two sides of the coin. There's the good and there's the bad. And you're going to have to face a lot of rejection. Now that gets me to my list right here that I want to talk about today. One of the first topics I want to talk, I have my list right here off camera. That's why I'm looking here. Acting is a marathon, not a sprint. A marathon, not a sprint. So what I mean by that is that for most actors, you're not going to have what they call overnight success. You're not going to have what they also call, success within the first month. It's going to be a slow journey. And this is for most actors. That's how it was for me. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I did have some early success. And my momentum was, looking like it was going to skyrocket. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that early success. But things started to level off. And once that happens, there's going to be, like I said, when I was new, I didn't know it. There was a lot I didn't know when I first started acting. But that's why I love giving this information to you guys. Because when you first start, things can also be going up. And it looks like it's going to always go up. But then it's going to level off. That's how this business works. There's ups and downs. Even for A-list actors, even for name actors, there are ups and downs. There's still ups and downs, no matter how big you get. Look at Will Smith. I'm not going to get into that, but look at him for an example. Top of his game. Ups and downs. So you need to expect the ups and downs. I love to tell people, thinking about this business, don't just look at all the glossy side. Don't just look at all the awards shows and the benefits that you get when you are cast in a project and you get that recognition that you were seeking and you get those offers that you were seeking. Another thing you have to be aware of is that you can get cast in a lead role, what appears to be your big break, and then crickets, nothing. Slow down. Another thing you have to realize is that a lot of this business is out of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. Even the big actors who work regularly, a lot of the business is not in your control. So when that happened to me when I was young, what I started doing, I had skills from going to college. I studied radio, television, and film production. And I used those skills in the downtime to start making independent films. And that's how I built my company, On Web Television. My wife and I run this video production company. And we basically deal a lot with our main client base are nonprofit organizations. We create videos for them. Even to this day, I still create videos that a lot of small businesses, nonprofit agencies use on their website. A lot of my business now is pivoting to the internet. I manage websites for, I'd say one of my biggest clients. I manage a website for a small city in Georgia, and I help them rehab their existing site that was really old and outdated, and moved them to another server, brought all the content over, helped them set it up and run it, and I still continue to be the project manager for them. So I'm kind of like a slash project manager and content creator for a small city in Georgia. So that's one of my big clients. And I have a lot of small clients that I work with. I do editing for different clients. I do website building for different clients. And I still do my video production. And most of my video production now these days is here for YouTube. Because one of my goals, before I get back to my list, one of my goals here, I'll just step into this for a minute. One of my goals here on YouTube is to create humorous content. Now, I've been working, posting a lot of humorous content I've been editing over the years here on YouTube. So that's going well. My shorts here on YouTube are really exploding. So that's good. And I'm happy for that. The stumbling block I'm having, and maybe you guys can help me with that, is I'm trying to convert my short viewers over to my long form content. So you can help me with that. Go to my channel and watch some of my playlists for my long form content. That will really help me continue to move towards my goal. I got off into this little sidetrack about my channel. So that's one of the reasons I do this Sunday live question and answer, because I want to get to know you guys more. I want to work with you. I want to help you with your projects. That's why I ask people have been sending me emails about projects they're working on, about things they're wanting to do, and they have some questions. That's what this live version of this show is about. I'm here to answer your questions. If you have anything in the works, if you have anything planning, if you have questions about acting, directing, or editing, that's why I'm here, to answer those questions. And again, I enjoy answering these questions. I'm not trying to sell you any kind of lesson plan or get rich quick scheme or lessons on how to make it here on YouTube. I'm here to answer questions that pertain to acting, directing, and editing that could be used for YouTube, or it could be used for, out in your everyday life. And one thing too, which is interesting here, let me make my adjustment a little bit. I'm starting to slouch down a little bit. One thing I like about talking about this content, a lot of my videos, and I've heard from a few people by email, that a lot of my videos and information that I give out pertains to everyday life. So I kind of leaned into that. I still talk about acting, directing, and editing, a lot more of acting, but a lot of the content that I talk about can pertain to any job, can pertain to any career, can pertain to your everyday life. I love to use what I've learned the hard way to try to help you avoid the mistakes that I've made, avoid the errors that I made. So that's why I don't just talk about the good part. I don't just talk about the successes. I talk about the hard knocks, as if you want to call it that. And I don't avoid it. I don't shy away from it. That's why my slogan here is that I say the quiet part out loud. Because if you watch my videos, you'll see a lot of what I talk about the trials and the tribulations, the hard parts, the parts that people don't get on here on YouTube that much and talk about. But I try to give solutions. I try to give answers. And that's what this Q&A is about. So let's get back to the next topic. Success rarely happens overnight. And that's so true. I mentioned that a little bit in the first one, that it's going to take a while. success rarely happens overnight. We hear the stories. Those stories are really popular. Those stories get press. Those stories are publicized. People share those stories where someone seems to come out of nowhere. And sometimes it does happen. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it does happen. People get into this business by what they call accident, or someone helps them in. Someone gives them a little boost up, but that's rare. I mean, I did get a boost. Let me tell you a little story about how I got a little boost when I first started. I moved out here a long time ago to Los Angeles at the end of the 80s after I graduated college. And one of the first jobs I did, actually, I can't even remember what the job, it was an acting job. One of the first acting jobs, I met an actor, a young male actor, who asked me, and I was surprised because we were, I had just met him. We were talking a bit about the business, and he asked me if I had an agent. I told him no. I said, I'm looking for an agent. I've been sending out headshots and resumes, haven't been getting too much response. He said, okay, let me introduce you to my agent. And was it? It might have been Privileged Talent. I don't even think they're in existence anymore. So he introduced me to the agent. I sent in my headshot and resume with his introduction, and they called me in. And that was my first agent. And I booked a number of jobs through that agency. And then I've been with, over the years, I've been with a lot after that. I've been with a lot of different agencies. But they were my very first agent. And I got that because an actor decided to help me. And that's what has been my way to give back, where I try to help other actors over the years. And that's what I'm really doing here on YouTube too. That's why I give this information away. That's why I talk about what I talk about and how I talk about it, because I was helped at the beginning, and I was helped many times over the years by different actors and filmmakers to get jobs, to get opportunities. And I try to help people, different actors and actresses over the years. I've helped a number of them. And so I continue to do that. And I love hear about YouTube because I can help a lot of people all at once. And when I talk about this stuff, it lives here on YouTube. And most of the stuff I talk about, it's called evergreen. It's content that is not dated. It's not about technical. I don't talk about the technical aspect because those always change. I talk about the basics. And that's why I really push the basics. That's why when I talk to actors, and if you look at some of my videos on my channel, you'll notice that I do talk a lot about the basics, which may seem old school, but you need to know the basics. Just like with any creative endeavor. If you're learning to play the piano, you need to learn the basics about what fingers, what numbers. You need to learn the keys. You need to learn the basics before you can get in there and improvise. I love improvising. I do it all the time. I call it winging it. I love that. And that's something that I do all the time. But I took the time at the beginning to learn the basics. It took me years to learn all the stuff that I talk to you guys about. And I love sharing it because I like giving people a jump start. I like helping people out, like the way I was helped out in the beginning. So this channel is here to help spread the word, to actually help people more than I could in a one-to-one basis, because anybody can watch these videos. These videos can come across anywhere. I love the fact of the shorts because you could watch a short bit of my video and then that might prompt you to come over to my channel and watch more. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do with this video. I'm going to create some short bits out of it and use some of that. But I do that a lot on all my videos that I produce. I edited a video today and I just uploaded it. And I'm going to create some shorts out of that. And those shorts have valuable information and stuff to inspire. That's what I kind of try to do, inspire and give information at the same time. I like to talk about the problems, but I also always make sure I talk about some kind of solution, some kind of way. What I always say, if you run into a roadblock, find a way around it, under it, over it. Find a way. There always is a way. Just don't give up. So those are the things I like to talk about. And that's why I do it here on YouTube. Let's see what the next section is here. Expect rejection to be part of the process. Now, that's something that's hard for young actors who are just starting out. You start and you take it personal because they decided not to use you in the role, not to cast you. But you have to realize there are literally hundreds of reasons, and the competition is stiff, very stiff for every role. But you have to realize there's hundreds of reasons why one actor gets chosen over the other. And sometimes it's petty. It's honestly, to be perfectly honest and blunt, a lot of the reason one actor gets the role over the other is not always because of talent. Because a lot of the actors that make it far enough to be considered for the role, they don't get it. Even me, I continue to go out all the time. Last week I haven't went out on anything, but the week before that I went out on 3 good-sized roles. Did self-tapes, which are auditions that you do at home, and you send those in. You have a reader at home, and you read off camera, and you send those in. And a number of them, I felt that I was perfectly right for the role, but I didn't get it. And that's just part of the business. Rejection is built into this business. So that's what you're going to have to realize, that it's part of the business, just like the audition, just like the headshots, just like the resume, just like being prepared, just like rehearsing, just like doing scene readings with partners to work, to rehearse on your own. Rejection is part of it, and you have to learn how to deal with it. It feels personal, but it's not. It can be, maybe you're too tall, maybe you're too short, maybe your eyelashes are too long, maybe the way you talk doesn't fit what they envision as the character, maybe the way you're dressed that day. Something that's that weird can decide why one actor gets it over the other. Like I said, petty stuff. Maybe they didn't like the color you had painted on your fingernails. Maybe they didn't like the way you had your hair pulled back. Maybe they thought you were a little standoffish. Because the one thing actors need to understand too is that if you do get in-person auditions, you're being judged soon as you walk in that room. Now, especially with independent films, even television, even film, because you don't know who the person is. There's going to be somebody telling you to sign the sign-up sheet and have a seat over there. That could be the director's wife. That could be the director's best friend. That could be the producer's best friend or wife. So you're being judged when you walk in that room. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Today, how the process works, most auditions are self-tape. I have an agent, I have a manager, and when I get called in by a casting company, most of those calls are self-tape. So I get the audition. I'm able to, depending upon how fast it's supposed to be turned in, I'm able to work on it at home. I'm able to work on the lines. I'm able to develop the character. I'm able to do the self-tape numerous times if I want, and then turn in the best one. So there are advantages of the self-tape. There are advantages. At first, I was against it because for the first 25, 30 years as an actor, my auditions were always in person. And sometimes they went good, sometimes they went horrible. I talk about, if you go to my channel, you'll see some videos where I talk about when I blew auditions in person. That happens. That happens. And it's going to happen. It happens to actors who have 30 years experience. You'll get in there and something will just throw you off your game. You'll forget your lines. You'll drop a line and then you can't recover. That happens. So rejection is part of this business. Don't forget that. And start building up that thick skin that do the audition and forget about it, move on. It took me years to get to be able to do that, but I can now. And a lot of times I can do it so well that I don't even remember auditions that I've been on if it was like, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, because as soon as I do it, I release it. And I don't even think about it. I just do it. I've done so many over the years, and I just do it and release it. Only time, once in a while, I'll get hung up on an audition that I'm just right for. I'm tall. Audition, they may say my height, they may say my weight, they definitely may say my age, Black male, and I'm perfect for it. And one thing too, sometimes I get auditions where it actually fits my character. The character believes what I believe. And you can tell a lot about the character when you're reading the script. Sometimes you'll get the script, sometimes you'll just get the sides, but even in the sides, there are information that you can read if you read the whole thing, where someone's talking about your character or some, hold on one second, let me delete this. But so there's a lot that you can learn from rejection to make yourself better, to make yourself more resilient, to make yourself an actor who can deal with it. And you're going to have to deal with it. I don't care how much success you have, how big you get, you're going to still face some aspects of rejection. I mean, it was probably like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I heard Stallone. He was already Stallone, successful. And he was on an interview with someone, and he was talking about how people don't take him seriously. And it upset him and it hurt him. And he was, this was before he started his independent movies that he made, all those independent ones, when he was an older man. What was it? The Expendables. It was before that. And so he was saying that people didn't take him as a serious actor, but he was already an A-list successful actor for whatever, 20, 30 years. And he was still dealing with some level of success. You wouldn't think, I mean, with rejection, you wouldn't think he would deal with rejection, but they all do. No matter how big you get, there's always someone leading the project or investing in the project, unless you're producing it yourself. And that's why I think he started producing his own content even more regularly. But that's just getting off on a sidetrack. Let's go back to the next one. Early months, there may be few or no bookings. So as you start, that's another thing you have to think about. You might not book anything. You might not get any callbacks. A callback is when you submit yourself and then they like you, but they want you to come in for a second or third or fourth audition. There's no telling how many times you could audition, but the early months, you may not get any. You may not get any. And you'll start feeling that, am I making a mistake? Am I right for this? Is this something that I should be doing? But you may not get any. So you need to be resilient. You need to, if you really want to do this, you need to keep going forward and working hard at it, because it may not come as easy as you think. Let's see what's the next one. Growth comes with practice, patience, and persistence. Growth comes from practice, patience, and persistence. That's so true. As you continue to practice, as you continue to work at your craft, and I've done a number of videos where I talk about continuing to read, continuing to learn. You're always going to be learning. You're always going to be creating. I tell actors to write. I tell actors to direct small budget projects shot on their phone with their fellow actors. You're going to learn. You're going to be better. You're going to be sharper. You're going to practice. I always tell actors also, look at any other field where athletes, some of the best athletes there are, top of their game in the pros, what do they do all the time? They practice. They practice. They don't just sit home and wait for game day. That's what you have to do as an actor. You have to practice. You have to continually practice. If you don't have anybody to practice with, grab a book of monologues. Learn the monologue and say it into the phone yourself on a tripod, and then evaluate yourself. But you have to continue to practice. And you have to do this every day, once or twice a week. You should be doing some type of practice to move your talent and to continue to learn and continue to grow. And don't just do the monologues that you feel comfortable with. Find monologues that maybe don't fit your character. Find monologues that you don't think you'd be cast in, and work on those. Stretch, grow, get out of your comfort zone. Continue to work. I always recommend too, if you do have some actor friends, get together, get your cell phones, tape each other, review it, work, continue to work. Don't just sit around waiting for the email. Or in the old days, I used to say, don't just sit around waiting for the phone to ring. Continue. If you don't have an agent or a manager, continue to send out letters for them. Rewrite your letter, polish it. Talk about things that you've done recently. Talk about classes you've taken. Continue to take classes. And if you can't afford classes for some reason right now, organize your own class and work with a small group of actors. You don't have to do it at your home all the time. You could get a group of actors, and one week you're at this person's apartment. The next week you're at another person's apartment. Continue to work. And today, with this technology that we have, I definitely stress shooting content. And you don't have to show it to anyone. This is rehearsal. This is practice. Shooting content with your cell phone. Get a cheap tripod on Amazon with a holder that holds your cell phone and shoot scenes. Don't worry about the lighting. Don't worry about the sound. Shoot the scenes, watch it, evaluate yourself. If one of you guys can edit, learn to edit and cut it together. But practice. That way you can evaluate, okay, next time, how can I do this better? How can I, not the technical part, the acting part. That's what you're working on. You're not shooting these scenes to become, the next Tarantino or the next Spielberg. You're doing these to get experience and build your performance. And you don't even need to write a script. You can improvise. Now, I would say write down what the scene is about so that you know where you're going. Each scene should have a beginning, middle, and end so that you and the actors can constructively move through the scene. You don't want the scene going on forever, but each scene needs to have an outline, like beginning, middle, and end. Something just as simple as you have a fellow actor and the scene is, you set up the scene. You're coming home from work. You see the other actor tried to cook dinner, but he burnt the food, and you guys clean up together. Something even just that simple. You shoot that scene and you improvise as you go along. But also do scripted content. Getting to the habit of, and you don't have to do original stuff. You can pick a play and do a scene from a play. You don't have to sit down and write the script. You are practicing the acting element of it, so you can get content from anywhere. Revive a scene you saw on a television show, and you guys take the different parts and improvise your way through that scene. So again, with this modern technology you have, you should be shooting yourself, looking at it, and seeing how you're performing, and evaluate yourself. Honestly, how could I have been better? How could I be more believable? You can even do, again, monologues into your phone and look at that and see, how did you do it? Were you believable? Would you believe it? Because that one thing I always say, if you don't believe it, no one else is going to believe it. If you don't believe in your talent and you don't look believable to yourself, no one else is going to believe it. So you need to practice and rehearse. Again, think of any kind of athlete, gymnast, musician, artist, painter, anybody in the creative fields. They continue to work and practice. Writers continue to write, even if they're not working on a full-fledged novel or a television script or a movie script. They continue to write in a journal. Actors can do the same thing. I say actors should know a little bit about all the parts of the film business. And again, another video that I plan to do, which I haven't done yet, is my favorite and most helpful acting books that I've read over the years. One day I will get to it. I say now, though, go on Google and Google what are the top 20 acting books for new actors. And you're going to come up with a whole bunch. And you can get those on Amazon used. Don't buy new. Get the used ones on Amazon and save yourself some money and read it. A lot of people don't read nowadays. Everything here is on the internet, YouTube videos. But read well-written, well-planned out books on acting techniques so that you know about the techniques. And you can use elements from different techniques that fit you, that work with you, that fit into you as your character. So there's so much that you can do. So again, I will be back again during the week. I normally, during the week, last couple of weeks, I've been busy editing. So I've kind of been slipping off doing my, slacking off doing my vertical live streaming. But I don't talk this long on a vertical live stream. I get on there and I give updates about what I'm working on. I always try to work in a little bit of tip for either acting, directing, or editing so that you can have some valuable content from watching it. I believe you deserve that if you're watching it. Two little tips worked into my vertical live stream. And then I talk about what I'm doing and encourage you to come to my channel follow the link below and look at some of my content. I'm asking people now, what I'm going to be focusing on now is asking people to start watching some of my playlists, even if you put it on and play it in the background and as you're working on something. I'm hoping you would watch some of my playlists and watch some of my content. I need to build up those watch hours, to be honest. And my subscribers are still going, moving up, getting close, working on getting to that 900 number. But my watch list, my watch hours, that's where I need your help to help me build up my watch hours. So go there and watch some of my content. I have a bunch of playlists. I'm a big believer in playlists, so that if you like the first one, you'll watch another one. And again, I always try to put in some helpful hints inside my video, so you learn something, you gain something. I know I talk a lot. I like to get it out, but I always like to let you walk away learning something or giving you something to think about. So I will see you probably tomorrow on the vertical live stream. And thanks again for stopping by and watching the rerun of this. I notice a lot of people watch the reruns, and I'm happy for that. So I will see you again next Sunday, questions and answers. And I will see you during the week. I'll be coming on the vertical live stream. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching.